it's another year, and it's another unfortunate round of releases here early in the year for WWE. This happens everywhere in all jobs, especially in sports companies. We see it in NBA, we see it in NFL, we see it in other wrestling promotions as well too. People don't get re-signed, they get released, they get traded. It happens. But unfortunately, with WWE being such a big company, we hear about it more than we do with other companies like AEW and TNA, who do release people as well too. This don't have to do it as much because they're not such a big monster that WWE is, and they have NXT, they have the IFL, they have Evolve going on as well too. Then there's new ID programs, so they're trying to sign up sign new talent. So at that point, they have to kind of either release some of the talent that's been there for a while that they're not doing anything with, or ones that they don't see fit for the company. And unfortunately, that happens. We found that out here today with several releases over the past couple of days. First, to kind of start off with Duke Hudson back in January. Apparently, found out that he was quietly or silently released, and it just now kind of came to fruition. And with that being said, though, I'm kind of I'm surprised with that one here a little bit too, because I thought he had some potential. I didn't care for him in the Chase U. I'm not a big fan of the whole Chase U thing. Andre Chase, if I was to pick between Andre Chase and Duke Hudson, I'd probably pick Duke Hudson 100%. He's great in the ring. He started to show some potential, and then unfortunately, they kept pulling him back into the Chase U thing every time I thought that he was going to be leaving it, and I think that's kind of what kind of screwed him over. But then it kind of yesterday we found out that we first got a word of Cedric Alexander, who I thought just re-signed back in September, was unfortunately released from his contract as well too, and I was a little bit kind of a little bit confused by that one. Because it never makes sense to me that this guy literally just signed a new contract in September of 2024, from what I understand anyways, from what I've heard, and then just is released a few months later. I don't understand how a company can release somebody who's signed to a contract. To me, I feel like that is like a breach of a contract. I feel like if you sign a contract, that you're set for that contract for that amount of time. Again, we don't know how long it was or anything as well too, or if he really actually even re-signed. From what we heard, it was. But with that being said, though, it's the opposite though. If somebody wants to release, right? If somebody wants to be released from their contract, the company is allowed to deny it and does not have to release you. Never really understood that. It doesn't really make any sense to me. So we found out about Cedric Alexander. He's been doing some work over at NXT as well too, and again, just kind of surprised to see that. I was kind of surprised to see him get sent back down to NXT, but I thought maybe that was just to kind of go over there and help the younger talent, which of course makes sense. So I thought maybe maybe he could be a trainer and such, or a coach or what have you after he was done. But again, Cedric's a great talent. Ever since the CWC back in the Cruiserweight Classic, when he first got signed, right after that, his performance there. And then, of course, we found out more and more names. We eventually would find out we ended up finding about Sonya Deville, which actually surprised me, considering the fact that she was just in the Royal Rumble. She was just on Raw as well, too. She's in a new faction, and really surprised. And she was a good advocate, for WWE as well, too. So I was really surprised to see that one, but unfortunately, injuries and such, they gotta make room. Fortunately, they have to release, the women and such like that here to kind of make room for for the next group of women who's coming through NXT and such as well too. There's so many, new women of the division, stepping up. We have Roxanne Perez, we have, Alexa Bliss back, we have Charlotte back. And again, it's just gotta make room, unfortunately. It's just kind of how it works. Then, of course, we find out that, the Authors of Pain and Paul Ellering, which I didn't really see that as a surprise. I know they were doing some work, of course, with Karrion Kross and so forth. But, I liked their time in NXT. I thought they were a powerful freaking tag team, a great tag team. But ever since they came back, they really haven't been doing much. And I wasn't really too shocked by that one. And then, of course, we found out what we had. Isla Dawn, who we just found out here this morning, was another one that was released as well, too. Again, somebody else who I just feel like didn't really get the fair chance to do what she was a great, they were tag team champions, of course. Her and Alpha Fire, which I haven't heard if she's even been released yet. Maybe she just hasn't answered the phone yet or checked her email, or maybe they're going to keep her around. I don't know. But I was kind of surprised by Isla because, again, I thought that she was a great talent. She had a great look. And, again, no, it's unfortunate that it happened. But the one that really surprised me was Blair Davenport, and that's for sure. And I think that's mainly because of the fact that they literally just, brought her up to the main roster not too long ago. And they had high hopes for her, I feel. And she's a great talent, did a great job in NXT. They brought her up and really didn't do anything with her. She took some pictures backstage at the Royal Rumble and such, and is just back there hanging out. She wasn't in the actual Rumble itself. And again, I was kind of shocked to see that she got released. Maybe she'll go back on the indies, or maybe she'll go to TNA, to AEW, B Priestley, and who knows? Who knows? Sky's the limit for her. I think she's a great talent, and I was really surprised to see that she, didn't get a fair chance at all. Not at all, not whatsoever. And then of course we find out here as well too, as the day progressed, that Giovanni Vinci got released, which doesn't surprise me. I think they kind of ever since he got kicked from Imperium, I kind of feel like it just kind of went downhill from there, and they tried revamping his character, and then bringing him back with a whole different gimmick and such, and it just didn't really work out. And then it just wasn't. I don't think it was gonna ever amount to anything. So that one there didn't surprise me at all. But he's definitely a great talent. I think he'll do just fine outside of WWE. And then of course we find out that apparently the Good Brothers got released as well too, and that one there, it doesn't surprise me again. I feel like someone's always hurt there, or just taking time off or something. These guys have been released, they've been signed, been released, been signed, been released, been signed, and now it's hard telling what they're going to do. They went to TNA, they did a little stint in AEW through TNA, and then came back to WWE. So again, it feels like some of these people that Triple H is bringing back, that was originally released when Vince was around, is getting released again. I mean, who knows who else is left? So that's kind of who we have so far that's been released. And unfortunately, again, it sucks that we have to sit here and talk about this. But again, it's a business. It happens. People are kind of shocked, saying, "Well, don't call people up to the main roster, if you don't have a plan for them." I don't think that's always the case. I think it's just a matter of bringing up people to the main roster, so that way, they can try to use them, or try to get something out of them. Plus, they got to keep that machine, that just moving, right? They got to keep that belt moving. They got to bring up, NXT talent at some point. They can't just keep them there forever. They got to keep bringing them up, bringing them through. And unfortunately, if it doesn't work out, then unfortunately they have to go out the door, and then they have to bring up somebody else. Like, again, it's so weird that we have Roxanne coming up. And then, of course, we had Alexa come back. We had Charlotte, and then there's names of Malachi Black coming back as well, too. And just so many other, different names and such that's rumored to be returning or debuting. Penta, they got Rey Fenix potentially, maybe. But Penta for sure, obviously. So it's curious to see exactly what happens. I really did like Sonya Deville. I thought Sonya Deville was a great talent. I've always been a fan of her, and I'm excited to see what she can do in the future. But I'm excited to see what all these guys can do and girls can do in the future. Again, it sucks that we have to talk about it. It sucks that it happens, but unfortunately, at the end of the day, it is a business, and that's exactly what it is. WWE is a huge business, and again, to make more room for the other NXT talent and everybody else, they have to do these releases and do these cuts, unfortunately. And again, it sucks. I don't want to be in that position. And again, I wish the best for all of them.